Hey, welcome there, students. This week we are going to start our first grader project, Chapter 12. We're going to work in Microsoft Word, and let's go ahead and get started with our assignment. Very first thing we're going to do is let's download our materials. For grader projects, these are different than the simulations that we've done in the past. We're going to go ahead and click on our Chapter 12 grader project. And from our Chapter 12 grader project, notice how we have our 4 different steps here. Our first step is to download our materials. We're going to go ahead and click on Download Materials. And we need to download each one of these assignments. Do not click on this Download All Files. When you click on the Download All Files, it downloads a zip file. And if you don't extract it properly, what ends up happening is it doesn't save your files in the way they should be saved. And oftentimes you can lose work. So let's go ahead and just click on download after each one of these assignments. Once we have all of these downloaded, we're going to come down here and find the file that says student name, this one right here. And it should have your name on it. And when it opens up, this is what should open up, a blank file, and go ahead and click on Enable Editing. Alright, we're already done with step number 1. We've downloaded our files, we've opened up our file. First thing we need to do is type in educational websites. Now, what I would like you to do is come to your Home tab here, and under your Home tab, I want you to click under the paragraph grouping. There's this little icon right here. If you hover over it, it says Show Hide. Go ahead and click on that Show Hide button, and notice that you get a paragraph mark that shows up here. This is something that you only see on screen. It does not show up when you print. It's just a visual reference on screen so you can see where different marks are for editing. Now notice in Microsoft Office and Word, we have our tabbed interface. We have Home, Insert, Design, Layout, References, Mailings, Review, View, and Help. And underneath those tabs, we have different groupings. In the Home tab, we have Clipboard, Font, Paragraph, Styles, Editing. Okay, so it wants us to type in educational websites. So let's go ahead and type in educational websites. And once you've typed educational websites, make sure you pay attention to your case. You want to make sure you have a capital E, capital W, and also make sure everything is spelled properly. Unfortunately, this is not like the simulations that we've done. It will not give us an incorrect action when we do something wrong. So it's whatever we do and turn in is how we're graded. So type in educational websites, hit enter, and then go ahead and type in the rest of it, which is Sturgeon Point Productions. Alright, so what you should have typed here is Sturgeon Point Productions is offering website tie-ins with every educational video title in our catalog, comma, space, at no additional cost, period. Also, make sure that you have everything spelled correctly, make sure everything's typed correctly, make sure you have the dash right here. And then once you've typed in your period here, go ahead and hit the space bar once. So now it wants us to insert the text from a grader data file that we downloaded, that W12G educational file. We're going to go to our Insert tab. Anytime you want to insert something, most likely it's going to be under the Insert tab. And from the Insert tab, we're going to come to the text grouping here. Under the text grouping, we're going to click the down arrow next to Object. And when you click that down arrow, we're going to get an option for Text from File. We're going to go ahead and click on Text from File. And we need to go to our Downloads folder because hopefully you're using Google Chrome. And when you download something in Google Chrome, it downloads in the Download folder. And here it is, the WO12G education document. We're going to click on that and hit insert. And it will insert the rest of the text for us. And we are done with step 2. On step number 3, it wants us to change the line spacing of the entire document. Well, to select the entire document, I want you to hold down your control key. Hold down the control key on your keyboard and hit A. When you hold down control and hit A, it will select the entire document for us. If that didn't work for you, or if you have a Mac, you can just click and highlight all of the text. But Control A is a quick way to select all the text on a document. And now it wants us to change the line spacing for the document to 1.5. I'm going to come to the Home tab. From the Home tab, I'm going to come to the paragraph grouping. And I'm going to click on this little guy right here, which is our paragraph dialog box. And from here, we're going to change the line spacing from multiple to 1.5. I'm going to change the spacing after to 6 point. So I'm going to change this to 6 point. And I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And notice that it will increase the spacing between the lines and make everything look a little more uniform. Now from here, it wants us to put a first line indent on most of our paragraphs here. So we're going to come up here and we're going to put our cursor right before the S at Sturgeon Point Productions and hit the tab key. It's going to give us a first line indent of 0.5. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to put our cursor right in front of As Educators and hit the tab key. And the next one is when submitting. I'm going to scroll down here. Here's when submitting. I'm going to put my cursor right in front of when submitting and hit the tab key. And right in front of the video. I'm going to put my cursor in front of the video and hit the tab key again, and it will indent all of that for us. Now on step number 4, it wants us to change the font size of the title. So I'm going to make some changes to our title here to make it a little more formal. And we're going to highlight educational websites. So come up here and highlight educational websites. And we're going to change the font size to 50. I'm going to come up to our font grouping here. And where it says 11, I'm going to change this to 50. But notice how I don't have 50 here. So I can just go ahead and highlight this 11 and type in 50 and hit enter. And it'll put the 50 sized font in there for me. And it wants me, since we still have the title still selected, it wants us to change the line spacing to 1.0. I'm going to come back up to my paragraph grouping here. And I'm going to click on this little guy right here again, my paragraph dialog box. And change my line spacing back to single. And I want to change, and it wants me to center the title. All right, so we're done in here. I'm going to hit OK. And now that the title is still selected, I'm going to come up here to my Home tab again under my paragraph grouping. And here is the center icon. If I hover over it, notice when you hover over icons in Microsoft Office and Microsoft Word, it will tell you exactly what this function is. And it says center. I'm going to go ahead and click the center button. And it will center the title for me. And now from the text effects and typography, I want to change the effect fill. That's going to be under our font group. And if you hover over this blue icon right here, it says text effects and typography. Click the down arrow. And I believe it wants us to select the second effect, but notice how I hover over the second effect, it tells us what it is. And we want fill blue accent 1 shadow. And look at that, it's the right one, so I'm going to click on that. And then move on to step number 5. It says at the beginning of the paragraph below the title, we're going to insert a picture. All right, so it looks like I'm going to click at the beginning of the paragraph here where it says Sturgeon Point Productions. And we're going to insert a picture, so we're going to go to our Insert tab. And under our Insert tab, we have Illustrations group, we have Pictures. I'm going to go to the Downloads folder. And here it is, the picture that I want. I'm going to click on the 012G media and hit insert. And this gigantic picture is going to take up half of my screen, but don't worry, we're going to fix that. First thing it wants us to do is change our picture height to 2. Notice that now that we have a picture here and we've clicked on the picture, we have a contextual tab that wasn't here before. So anytime you have an extra functionality that you normally don't have, it will come up with a contextual tab to give us that functionality. So we're going to click on our picture tools and our format tab, and all the way over here to the right we have our size group. I'm going to change our height from 4.57 to 2. I'm going to hit enter, and it's making the picture a little bit more manageable. And then we're going to go to the layout options and change the text wrapping to square. So right here is our layout options. We'll click on this little icon, and we're going to go with text wrapping. We're going to change it to square, which is the first option right here. And it wants us to format the picture with a 10-point soft edges effect. To do that, I'm going to come up here to my picture styles. I want to find where it says picture effects. Click the down arrow. We're going to do soft edges, and we're going to find the soft edges 10 point, which is the second row down right here. All right, our picture is looking pretty nice, but it's still kind of right in the middle of our text. We want to kind of change our layout. So to do that, we are going to come back to our layout options box here, and we're going to come here to see more. And from see more, we're going to change the horizontal alignment. So let's put a dot next to horizontal alignment right here. And it's going to be right relative to the margin. And then we're going to change our vertical alignment to top relative to the line. So we're going to change page to line. So we have alignment right margin, alignment top line, hit OK, and watch that picture flip-flop like a politician right over to the other side. And we're done with step number 6. So with step number 7, it wants us to select the 5 paragraphs beginning with historic interactive timelines. So we're going to scroll down here, and these are all considered paragraphs. So every time you see one of these paragraph marks is considered a paragraph. So historic interactive timelines all the way to quizzes and essays. And we're going to apply the check mark bullets. So under the Home tab, under our paragraph grouping, we're going to click on the down arrow next to where it says bullets. And we're going to do a check mark bullet. And in step number 8, it wants us to locate the title below the bulleted list and click after the colon. So right here, when submitting, please list. There's a period, there's a colon right here. Let's put our cursor right after that colon. Once your cursor is after that colon, hit the enter button. We're going to remove the first line indent, so hit the backspace button, which will take us back to the beginning of the line. And let's go ahead and type in the blue text on our instructions, the title in which you are interested. And go ahead and hit enter. And the name of the class and subject. Hit enter. And online tools you would like to see created. And once we've typed in all 3 of those lines, double check for any spelling errors, any punctuation errors, then highlight these 3 lines. And we are going to do a numbered list. Now we'll come up here to our paragraph grouping, and we'll click on the numbering icon here, which will now put our numbers in there for us. So our document's coming along pretty nicely. For step number 9, it says with the insertion point at the end of the numbered list. So let's go ahead and click off of our numbered list. Let's put our cursor right here at the end of created. We want to insert a basic chevron process art. To do that, we're going to go to our Insert tab. From our Insert tab, we're going to click on SmartArt. And we are looking for the basic chevron process SmartArt under Process. We're going to click on Process here on the left-hand side. And basic chevron is this one right here. Looks like it is the 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth row down, second column over. We'll click on that and hit OK. And it's going to put in this SmartArt for us. So the very first things we want to do in this new SmartArt that we created is we're going to click on this first text box here and type in View. Then we're going to click on the second text box and type Interact. And notice how the font size changes as we type into it. And then on our third one, we're going to type in Assess. And then lastly, we want to select the outer border and change the height and change the colors. So as of right now, notice that we have just this chevron selected. So any formatting we do right now will only affect this chevron process because it is selected. We need to come up here and hover over one of these dots and click once. And notice when you do that, this whole thing is selected and none of these are selected. So anything that we do formatting wise now will be done to all of those chevrons. Let's go ahead and change our SmartArt color to Colorful Range. We'll come up here where it says color under our SmartArt Tools Contextual tab, Design tab. We're going to change our colors under SmartArt Styles. And under Colorful Range, we're going to find 4 to 5. And it gives us a little bit more color to it. It also wants us to apply the 3D flat scene. And we'll come up here to our SmartArt Styles, and we'll click this down arrow with a line above it. And we want to find where it says Flat Scene. And here it is. Here is our flat scene right here. All right, moving on to step number 10. With this entire SmartArt still selected, we'll come up here to our Smart Tools and our Format tab, and we're going to change the size of this SmartArt. So we're going to change the width, or we're going to change the height to 1. So let's change this from 3.5 to 1. Hit enter. And we're going to change the width to 6.5. And once you typed in 6.5, hit enter. And it moved back up to our first page. I'm going to scroll up here, and here it is. It's on our first page. It wants us to change the layout. So it wants us to change the alignment. To do that, we're going to come back over here to our layout options. And from layout options, we are going to change our text wrapping to square. And we are going to click on See More right down here at the bottom to open up our layout dialog box. We want to change the horizontal alignment to centered relative to the page. And we're going to change our alignment grouping to alignment to the bottom relative to the margin. So alignment centered page, alignment bottom margin, and hit OK. And it'll put it exactly where we want it. Now for step number 11, we need to scroll down to page number 2. And the other thing we need to do is we need to show your rulers. Most likely you do not have your ruler showing. I have mine showing because I always have them turned on. But if you do not have your ruler showing, come up here to the View tab. Under our View tab, under the Show grouping, put a check mark right here next to Ruler. That way this ruler will show up at the top of your document. And now it wants us to select the numbered the days and the times. So we're going to highlight from Monday all the way down to noon. We're going to highlight all of this. And it wants us to insert a right tab stop. So come up here to, now that we have our ruler, and just hover over this icon right here. And notice how it says that it is a left tab stop. Go ahead and click on this icon right here once, and then hover off of it and then hover back on it, and it should say center tab. Well, nope, that's not what we want. We're going to click it again, and then I'm going to hover off of it and hover back on, and it says it is a right tab. That is what we want. We want a right tab. We're going to come over here to our toolbar, or our ruler, and it wants us to put a right tab stop at the 6-inch mark. So right here, just hover just slightly below the 6 and click once. And when you click there, it's going to put a right tab stop at the 6-inch mark. And notice this is now separated a little bit nicer. But with it still selected, it wants us to have a dot leader. Come back up here and hover back over that right tab stop you just created. Hover over that right tab stop you just created. When you hover over it, it should pop up what says right tab stop. I want you to double click really fast. I want to double click really fast. And when you double click really fast on that right tab stop, our tabs dialog box is going to open up. We want to click on this 6 right here. You want to highlight this 6 right here. And we want to, it's already a right tab stop, but we want to do a dot leader, which is this one right here. Number 2 is a dot leader. We have to set it, so click the set button and hit OK. And now we should have a dot leader going to each of these times. And we are done with step number 11. Going to step number 12. It wants us to click below the tabbed list. Notice how there is a paragraph mark right here. So we're going to click below this tabbed list. And it wants us to center the line. So go ahead and hold down your control key. Hold down your control key and hit E. Control E will center the line for us. If you have problems with that, you can come to the Home tab here. Under the Home tab, under the paragraph grouping, you can click on this icon right here that says Center. But now that we have this centered, we want to insert an online video. And so under the Insert tab, Media Group right here, we're going to click on Online Video. And we're going to search YouTube for Pearson Higher Education Learning. And hit enter. And we're going to select this very first picture right here, this very first video. If you have to pick a different video, that's okay, but try to find this one right here by typing in Pearson Higher Education Learning. Click on this, this video and hit insert, and it'll put the video in for us. Notice that it's selected. We have our Picture Tools Format tab up here. We want to change the height to 1.5. So come over here to our Picture Tools Format tab, our size group, and let's change our height to 1.5. And hit enter. It's going to make that picture or that video a little bit smaller. And then moving on to step number 13, it says below the video, we want to insert a rounded rectangle shape. We're going to come back up here to our Insert tab. Remember, anytime you want to insert something, check the Insert tab. We want to do a shape. We're going to click on Shape. And we want to find a rounded rectangle. So under the rectangles, it looks like it is the second one over. It says Rectangle Rounded Corners. That is what we want. Let's go ahead and click on that. Let's come somewhere down here. Notice how we have a crosshairs icon. Come somewhere down here below this video. So right about here, and just click once. And when you click once, it will put in a little shape for us. Now we can change the height and width of the shape. So under our Drawing Tools Format tab, under our size grouping here, let's change the shape height to 1.5. So we're going to change this to 1.5. Hit enter. And we're going to change the width to 6.5. So under width here, we're going to change it to 6.5 and hit enter. And notice now we have a pretty large rounded rectangle shape. So we want to display the shape styles gallery and change the shape effect. That will be under our format tab here. Under our drawing tools format tab, under our shape styles. We're going to click the down arrow with the line above it. And we want to find the one that is the subtle effect. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it is right here. Subtle effect blue accent 1. It's the 1, 2, 3, 4th row down, second column over. And it changes our color for us. And we want to change on step number 14. So we're going to come over here to our layout options. From layout options, we're going to click on see more. We're going to change our horizontal alignment to centered relative to the margin. And our vertical is going to be alignment centered relative to the margin. And hit OK. And it's going to put it right below the picture for us, or the video. And inside here, we want to type in this blue text. I'm going to go ahead and click once on inside of it, and then just start typing. Sturgeon Point Productions. Hit the enter button, and then partnering with educators to produce rich media content. Now remember, double check your spellings, make sure everything's spelled correctly, and also notice that I'm capitalizing all of the letters of the words except for with and to. So make sure you double check all of your case and make sure, and your punctuation, make sure they are correct. Now once we have this all typed in, we're going to highlight Sturgeon Point Productions all the way down to rich media content. We're going to highlight all of this. And we're going to go to the Home tab and change the font size to 16. And we are done with our rounded rectangle shape. We're going to move to the top of the document. At the top of the document, it wants us to insert a text box. So let's go to our Insert tab again. Under our Insert tab, under our text grouping, click on Text Box and Draw Text Box. And once you click on Draw Text Box, you should have this crosshairs again. So somewhere up here under Educational Websites, or above Educational Websites, just go ahead and click once. And it will put in a text box for us. Once you've put in this text box, we're going to change the height and width. So we're going to come to our Drawing Tools Format tab. And come over here to our size grouping. We're going to change the height to 0.5, and our width is going to be 3.7, and hit enter. Now inside this text box, go ahead and click inside the text box. We're going to type in Sturgeon Point Productions. And once you've typed in Sturgeon Point Productions, highlight that text. Go to our Home tab, change the font size to 22, and center our text. Under the paragraph grouping right here, center our text. All right, so now we need to move this text box where we want it to go. So we're going to click on this little icon right here, our layout options, and go down to See More. And our horizontal alignment is going to be centered relative to the page. And our alignment, we're going to keep our alignment at an absolute position. And it's going to be 0.5, so change this to 0.5. below the page. So alignment centered page, absolute position 0.5 below the page, and hit OK. It'll put it right where we want it to be. Now we're still not done with this text box. I'm going to go ahead and click on the text box. Notice how it's selected. And I'm going to change the shape fill to blue accent 5. I'm going to come back up to our drawing tools, our format tab. And I'm going to change the shape fill under our shape styles, shape fill, to blue accent 5 lighter 80%. So find where it says blue accent 5 and go down to lighter 80%, which is the second one down right here. Blue accent 5 lighter 80%. And we're going to select that same color for the border. So where it says shape outline, we're going to click on that. Go back to our blue accent 5 lighter 80%. And so far we're looking pretty good. We're just about done. Let's go ahead and deselect our text box. So just go ahead and click somewhere in here to deselect our text box. And now we want to put a page border on our document. We're going to come up here to our Home tab, under our paragraph grouping. There's this icon right here. If you hover over it, it says Borders. We're going to click the down arrow next to Borders and go all the way down to Borders and Shading. First thing we're going to do is we're going to click on Page Border. From Page Border, we're going to come to our Box setting. And from our box setting, we are going to choose the first style, which is the style right here. It's already selected. And we're going to change our color to blue accent 5, which is this color right here, blue accent 5. Go ahead and verify that the whole document says apply to whole document. Go ahead and hit OK. And now we have our little border going around our entire document. On step number 19, it wants us to change our top margin to 1.5. Go to our Layout tab here. Under our Layout tab, click on Margin and go all the way down to Custom Margins. And we're going to change our top margin to 1.25. So type in 1.25. Hit OK. And we're going to insert a file name in the footer. We're going to come back up here to our Insert tab. Under our Insert tab, we're going to go to our header and footer grouping. Click on Footer. Go all the way down to Edit Footer. And from our header and footer design tools here, under our Insert grouping, we're going to click on Document Info and put in File Name. Now the reason why we put the file name in this way using this field is because if we were to ever change the name of this file, it would automatically update for us. So once you have our file name here, come up here to close header and footer, and we are done with the document. We need to save it and submit it. So come up here and hit this little save icon right here. You can also go to the File tab and hit Save, but just make sure that the file is saved, and you can go ahead and close out of it and come back to our downloading starting materials. We can exit out of this, come back to our 4 steps. We've already done step 1. We downloaded our materials. We've already worked on the assignment, so we're done with step 2. Now we need to upload the completed assignment. So click on Choose File. And from Choose File, go to the Downloads tab and find the file with your name. For me, it says Student. For you, it'll be your name. Click on it and hit Open. And Upload. And once it says Success, we can submit for grading. And we will close our assignment. And now if you want to see how well you did on this assignment, you can go back to our assignment list. We can scroll all the way back down to our grader project and click on these 3 dots. Once you click on these 3 dots, View Submissions. And it will show you exactly how well we did. It looked like I got 100%. but say you got something a little less than 100%, you could click on this submission and you can see exactly what you did wrong. And you could find what you did wrong, you could click on it, it would give you a brief description of what you did wrong, and then feel free to go back, fix the assignment, and then resubmit it for the best grade possible. Once again, if you need to contact me through Canvas, and have a wonderful day. Hey, thanks for watching. If you found this video useful, please like and subscribe to the channel, as I'll be posting new walkthroughs and tech tips each week. Check back regularly for new content, and have a wonderful day.